Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. Hangfire in ASP.NET Core, a comprehensive tutorial. Hangfire is a library that allows you to perform background processing in .NET applications. It provides a simple way to enqueue tasks that can be processed in the background without blocking the main thread. This is especially useful for long-running tasks, such as sending emails, processing files, or performing complex calculations. In this tutorial, we'll go through the steps to set up Hangfire in an ASP.NET Core application, including installation, configuration, and usage. Prerequisites: .NET Core SDK installed, version 3.1 or later. A code editor, such as Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code. Basic knowledge of C and ASP.NET Core. Step 1. Create a new ASP.NET Core project. To start, create a new ASP.NET Core web application. Bash. .NET New Web App and Hangfire Demo. CD Hangfire Demo. Step 2. Install Hangfire NuGet packages. Add Hangfire and a persistent storage provider, example SQL Server, using NuGet. Open your terminal and run. Bash. .NET Add Package Hangfire. .NET Add Package Hangfire.SQL Server. Step 3. Configure Hangfire in your application. 1. Update startup.cs, open the startup.cs file and modify it to configure Hangfire. Sharp. Using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.Builder. Using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.Hosting. Using Microsoft.Extensions.Dependency Injection. Using Microsoft.Extensions.Hosting. Using Hangfire. Using Microsoft.Extensions.Configuration. Public class startup. Public startup, iConfiguration configuration. Configuration equals configuration. Public iConfiguration configuration get. Public void configure services, iService collection services. / configure Hangfire to use SQL Server. Services.add Hangfire, x equals x.use SQL Server storage, configuration.get connection string, default connection. Services.add Hangfire server. / add MVC services. Services.add controllers with views. Public void configure, iApplication Builder app, iWeb host environment env. If, env.is development. App use developer exception page. Else. App use exception handler, /home/error. App use HSTS. App use HTTPS redirection. App use static files. App user outing. App use authorization. App use endpoints, endpoints equals. Endpoints.map controller root. Name, default. Pattern, controller equals home/action equals index/id. / use Hangfire dashboard. App use Hangfire dashboard. To connection string, add a connection string to your app settings.json file. Ensure you have a SQL Server instance running. JSON. Connection strings. Default connection, server equals your_server, database equals Hangfire demo, user ID equals your_user, password equals your_password. / other settings. Step 4, create a background job. You can create a background job by defining a method in a controller or a service. For demonstration purposes, let's create a simple job that logs a message. 1. Create a background job. Create a new service class to handle background jobs. Sharp. Using system. Using system.threading.tasks. Using Hangfire. Public class background job service. Public void send email, string to / simulate sending an email. Console.write $email sent to at datetime.now. To register the service, register background job service in startup.cs. Sharp. Public void configure services, iService collection services. / existing code. Services.add transient background job service. 3. Enqueue a job, in your controller, inject the service and enqueue a job. Sharp. Using Microsoft.ASP.NETCore.MVC. Public class home controller, controller. Private read-only background job service _ background job service. Public home controller, background job service _ background job service equals background job service. Public iAction result index. / enqueue the job. Background job.enqueue equals _ background job service.send email, example at example.com. Return view. Step 5, run your application. 1. Run migrations. Before running the application, you need to create the necessary database tables. You can use the following command. Bash. .NET F migrations add initial create. .NET F database update. Make sure you have Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.SQL Server and Microsoft.Entity Framework Core.Tools packages installed if you are using Entity Framework Core. To start the application, run the application. Bash. .NET Run. 3. Access the dashboard. Open your browser and navigate to https://localhost 5001/Hangfire to access the Hangfire dashboard. Here you can see your background jobs, their status, and other information. Step 6, testing the background job. Navigate to the index page, usually https://localhost 5001/. Check the console output for the email log. Visit the Hangfire dashboard to see the job details. Conclusion. You've successfully integrated Hangfire into your ASP.NET Core application. You can now enqueue background jobs to handle long-running tasks without blocking the main application thread. Hangfire also provides several advanced features like recurring jobs, delayed jobs, and more, which you can explore in the official Hangfire documentation. For further learning, you can refer to the Hangfire documentation, https://www.hangfire.io, for more advanced features and configurations. Sure. Hangfire is a popular library for background job processing in .NET applications, including ASP.NET Core applications. It allows you to run background tasks outside of the request-response cycle, enabling you to perform tasks like sending emails, processing files, and more without blocking the main thread. Getting started with Hangfire in ASP.NET Core. Step 1. Create a new ASP.NET Core project. You can create a new ASP.NET Core project using the .NET CLI or Visual Studio. For this example, we'll use the .NET CLI. Bash. .NET New Web App and Hangfire example. CD Hangfire example. Step 2, install Hangfire packages. You need to install Hangfire and a storage provider. For this example, we'll use the in-memory storage provider, which is suitable for development and testing. For production, you should use a persistent storage provider like SQL Server, Redis, etc. Run the following command to add Hangfire. Bash. .NET add package hangfire.asp.NET Core. .NET add package hangfire.memory storage. Step 3, configure Hangfire. Open the startup.cs file and configure Hangfire in the Configure Services and Configure Methods. Sharp. Using Hangfire. Using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.Builder. Using Microsoft.Extensions.Dependency Injection. Public class startup. Public void configure services, iService collection services. // add Hangfire services. Services.add Hangfire, config equals config.use memory storage. Services.add Hangfire server. / add other services as needed. Services.add controllers with views. Public void configure, iApplication Builder app. App user outing. / use Hangfire dashboard. App use Hangfire dashboard. App use endpoints, endpoints equals. Endpoints.map controllers. Endpoints.map Hangfire dashboard, / endpoint for the dashboard. Step 4, create a background job. You can create various types of jobs in Hangfire. For demonstration, we'll create a simple background job that sends an email, simulated here with a console message. Create a new class called emailjob.cs. Sharp. Using system. Using system.threading.tasks. Public class email job. Public task send email, string email address. Console.readAline, $sending email to email address at datetime.now. Return task.completed task. Step 5, enqueue a job. You can enqueue a job to be processed in the background. You can do this from any part of your application, such as a controller. Open or create a new controller, for example, homecontroller.cs. Sharp. Using Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.MVC. Using Hangfire. Public class home controller, controller. Private read-only email job _ email job. Public home controller, email job _ email job equals email job. Public iAction result index. / enqueuing a background job. Background job.enqueue equals _ email job.send email, example at example.com. Return view. Step 6, add email job to the D container. To ensure that Hangfire can resolve the email job class, register it in the configure services method in startup.cs. Sharp. Services.add transient email job. Step 7, run the application. Now you can run your application. Bash. .NET run. Navigate to http://localhost 5000, and when you hit the index page, it will enqueue the background job to send an email. Accessing the Hangfire dashboard. You can access the Hangfire dashboard by navigating to http://localhost 5000/Hangfire. This dashboard allows you to monitor your jobs, see their statuses, and manage them. Conclusion. You've now integrated Hangfire into an ASP.NET Core application. You can create and manage background jobs easily. For production applications, consider using a persistent storage option like SQL Server or Redis for better reliability and persistence. Further reading. Hangfire documentation, https://www.hangfire.io. ASP.NET Core documentation, https://docs.microsoft.com/n-a/aspnet/core. Background job processing in ASP.NET Core, https://docs.microsoft.com/n-a/aspnet/core/fundamentals/host/web-host. This tutorial should provide a solid starting point for using Hangfire in your ASP.NET Core applications.